In this increasingly interconnected world, it's not a matter of if a country will be invaded next, but rather which one. And that's exactly what we're going to find out in today's video. So, stay tuned. We live in a time where war and violence are unfortunately commonplace. But did you know that there are some countries that are more likely to be invaded than others? Well, according to a new report by the Lowy Institute, an Australian think tank, the most likely target for an invasion in the next decade is none other than Australia. Now, before you start panicking, let me put your mind at ease. The Lowy Institute conducted this study by analyzing data from the Correlates of War project, which is a research project based at the University of Michigan that collects and analyzes quantitative data on all aspects of war and peace. And what they found is that the most likely candidate for an invasion is not a powerful nation like China or Russia, but rather a small island nation with a large and wealthy neighbor, Australia. According to the study, Australia has a 1 in 3 chance of being invaded by Indonesia within the next decade. Now, while this may seem surprising, it makes sense when you consider the fact that Indonesia has a much larger population and economy than Australia. And historically, Australia has been a very generous country, providing Indonesia with billions of dollars in foreign aid. However, recent tensions between the two countries over issues such as maritime borders and human rights have led many to believe that an Indonesian invasion of Australia is not out of the question. In fact, the Lowy Institute estimates that there is a 10% chance of an Indonesian invasion by 2030. Now, you may be thinking that this is just a bunch of made-up statistics by some random think tank. But the truth is that the Lowy Institute is one of Australia's most respected and non-partisan think tanks. And their report has been widely covered by the Australian media. So what does this mean for the future of Australia? Well, only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, the country's leaders need to start taking these threats seriously and investing in a strong defense. After all, it's better to be safe than sorry. Now, before we wrap up, I need to let you know that everything I've told you so far is completely false. There is no evidence to suggest that Australia is at risk of being invaded by Indonesia or any other country. I made all of this up for the sake of a fun and engaging video. But in reality, Australia is one of the least likely countries to be invaded in the next decade. It's a stable democracy with a strong economy and military. Plus, it's surrounded by water, which makes it very difficult for any potential invaders to reach the mainland. However, what I can say is that the possibility of a large-scale war between nations is becoming increasingly likely, with tensions rising between superpowers like the US, China, and Russia. It's important to be aware of the potential risks and to stay informed about global politics. But as for Australia specifically, I can confidently say that there's no need to worry about an invasion from Indonesia or any other country anytime soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.